Hi, I'm Regina Cross, and I am the director of the Spartan Pathways Travel Program. And I'm happy that you're able to join us today to have a briefing on the Essential Europe Tour. First, I'm going to introduce Maggie Stevens. She is Director of Group Sales at AESU World Travel. I've been working with Maggie for many, many years now, and she's fantastic. Little housekeeping, if you could stay muted just so that there's no background noise happening. Also, this is being recorded, so if there's something in the next week or so that you've forgotten, I'll go ahead and send out a video link so that you can review it if you need to. Yes, okay, Maggie, take it away.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for first off for booking with AESU. We just love sending people to Europe. For most of our travelers, it is their first time going overseas. So we do think it's a great thing for young people to do, go experience some different cultures, gain some, newfound skills when you're overseas. And it's also great to have on a resume when you're going into the workplace, to say that you have traveled extensively. It definitely employers look for that on many resumes now. So I am just going to run through a PowerPoint presentation for you. We're just going to hit some of sort of what we think are the most important things that you guys should know, sort of in the lead up to the trip in terms of planning, packing, all of that kind of good stuff. And then we'll have time at the end for a Q&A. So if there's anything that we have missed, feel free to ask questions at the end. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen and then just get going on this PowerPoint. Okay, and that looks good, Regina? Great.
Yes, it does.
Fantastic. Thank you. I just want to make sure. Thanks. Okay. So the first thing that you guys are going to get from us in the lead up to your trip, and this is going to come about a month or so prior to your departure, so probably maybe by the end of next week, you will get your final document packet. And so included with that is going to be your travel voucher. So just check the voucher and make sure it's for the length of tour that you selected, whether that's the 18-day tour or the 23-day tour, just to make sure that we have that correct. And that, it's just that everything looks good to you. We'll include an extended daily itinerary, so you will get like a more detailed description of what you will be doing every day. And we will also include travel distances, so you'll have an idea of, your travel on those days that you will be on the motor coach or on the train. We'll include a hotel list. I would recommend making a copy of that and leaving it at home with some other items that we'll also tell you to make copies of. And just leave that with, a family member or a friend, just in case somebody needs to get in contact with you and maybe you don't have cell service, and are relying on Wi-Fi. If they do need to contact you, they can always get you at the hotel at the end of the day. So it's a good thing to leave behind. We'll also include a packing list and useful hints. Both of those are also available on the website. So, you can always refer to the website if you don't have your documents with you when you're packing. And then also just some TSA rules, transfer information, and arrival information for when you get to London. We'll also send you a separate email, which will have your flight details. If you booked the flights with us, you'll receive your e-ticket receipt. So just again, make sure that's correct. Your name is spelled correctly. If you had a middle name and it's no space between your first and middle name, that is perfectly fine. Just make sure that the name are spelled correctly. The spaces don't matter. It's just the names. And once all of that is in place, you should be good to go. One item that we will include details on is the UK entry process, which is a little different now. They've just started this new program a year ago. And you basically have to get your passport pre-approved. So we will send you the link to the website that you will do this process on. You'll need your passport information and also your hotel list, just so that they're going to ask you where you're traveling to. And you'll just input your passport information, pay them their fee, which I think we have on here is $10, but this image might be old. I think they have upped it to £15 now. You'll pay that price and then you'll get approval sometime within like 48 to 72 hours after you complete that form. Just be very careful when you're answering some of the questions. Just make sure that you read them correctly. We did have one person who read a question incorrectly and provided the wrong answer, and it's a very difficult process to reverse a decline from the ETA. So just take your time and read the questions, and you should have no problem. You can start this process, as soon as you get your final documents, but you shouldn't leave it any longer than maybe like a week before departure, just in case there's any issues. You want to give yourself a little bit of leeway there. And this entry is going to be good for 3 years. So if you go back to the UK at any point in the next 3 years, you will not have to do this again. This is basically attached to your passport, and you will be able to enter the UK without needing to do this again. Also, just another thing to bear in mind is to use, not to Google the UK ETA application, to use the link that we will send you. There's a lot of companies now who will do this process for you, and they will charge you much more than the application fee. So just make sure that you use the link that we will send to you, because that's the actual UK government website, and you won't get charged any additional. So the other things that you're going to want to think about when you're getting ready to go is that you have all of your documents in order, and you just want to make sure, pull out your passport, check the expiration date, make sure it's valid through the end of this year. You'll need to have 6-month validity on your passport after you return to the US. So just make sure that your passport is valid for that time, because you still have time to get a replacement passport at this point. If you do need a visa, if you're not a US or Canadian citizen, you may need a visa. Those would be a UK and a Schengen visa. So again, if you haven't started that process, I would do that right away. You should bring a credit card with you, and probably your ATM card as well. For your credit card, definitely check that they do not charge international transaction fees. Lots of credit cards will charge you each time you use your card, and it really does add up, especially if you're using your credit card for like small items during the day. You may use your card 10 times during the day, and those fees really do add up. So cards that are branded for travel, like hotel cards, airline cards, generally don't have foreign transaction fees, but definitely check with your credit card company. Because again, you still have time to apply and get a new credit card if you need to. While you're on the phone asking them that, you can also let them know that you're going to be traveling overseas, and they can put that information in your account so that you don't get locked out of your credit card while you're overseas if they think that there's some fraudulent charges. If you're bringing your ATM card, the same process, just let them know that you're going to be out of the country, again, so that they don't put any sort of stop on your card while you're traveling. Your ATM card will also have fees. There isn't anything you can do about that. Unfortunately, they will charge you like an out-of-network fee, $2, $3 per transaction. So I would recommend taking out enough cash, to last you 3 or 4 days. so that you cut down on those fees. But if you lose your cash, it's not you're losing, you're losing all of your cash. So if you can, make 5 or 6 withdrawals during the tour, those fees shouldn't be crazy. And then at least if you, lose your wallet or, leave your wallet behind somewhere, it's not total disaster. For your phone, if you plan on using data while you're overseas, again, check with your phone provider that they have either an international plan or they include some overseas data with the plan that you currently have. T-Mobile does include data overseas with most of their plans, but it's probably not going to be like 5G speed. It'll probably be like 3G, so it might be a little bit slow. You can add either an international plan for a month or some phone companies will charge you per day. So you just want to check with them and see what the most financial, what process makes the most financial sense for you. You should be able to use Wi-Fi in most places that you go to. So it is possible to get by without data and just to use WhatsApp or something like that you don't need data for. So, if you can't, if there's no sort of reasonable cost way for you to have data overseas, you should be fine just traveling with Wi-Fi. Everybody should check their flights a few days ahead of time. Just make sure that there has been no last minute schedule changes. If the airline makes us aware of changes, if we've booked your flight and they make us aware, we'll be in touch with you. But in general, it should be fairly easy. You can even just Google the flight number, and normally FlightAware, one of those sites, will give you the details. So for packing, we limit the luggage just because we have limited space on the motor coach to one checked and one carry-on bag. If we've booked the flights for you, included with your flight ticket is one carry-on and one checked bag allowance. The checked bag can be no more than 50 pounds, so definitely weigh it before you leave home and just make sure that it's under that weight, especially now with price of fuel going up. They're probably going to be quite strict on the weight of your luggage. We always say people bring far too much with them, so we recommend packing your bag, then unpacking it, get rid of half the stuff and repack it again. You'll see in the pictures on this presentation that everybody's kind of wearing jeans and a t-shirt, jeans and a sweatshirt, shorts and a t-shirt. So, you're going to be on the go for most of the time, and you probably won't be doing 2 or 3 outfit changes a day. So if you just think about bringing stuff that you can layer, and that way you can wear, your jeans, a t-shirt, and a hoodie while you're in London. And then once you get to Paris, you can kind of probably ditch the hoodie because it should be a bit warmer there. So just think about things that you can layer while you're doing your packing, and you should be able to come in under that 50 pounds pretty easily. You'll need an adapter because the plug socket shapes in both the UK and the EU are different to the US. So buying a worldwide adapter is pretty inexpensive, maybe $10-12 online or at the luggage section of a department store. Obviously you can use that in the future. If you get a worldwide one, it will have different prongs for different countries. And then you'll just have to set it for whichever country you're going to be visiting. If you're bringing electronics other than, say, just your phone and a Kindle, something like that, you will need a converter because the voltage is also different overseas. The converters tend to be more expensive, like around $50 or $60, and they're also heavy. They're bigger, they tend to be heavy. So if you can get away with just bringing your phone and a Kindle or, an iPod or a modern laptop, although we try not to have you bring anything that's expensive, you won't need a converter. You'd only need the converter if you're bringing things like electric items, say a hair dryer or a hair straightener, things of that nature. Generally those don't do well anyway with converters, so we would recommend leaving it all at home if you possibly can. If you're bringing medication with you, please bring it in the original packaging or bring the prescription with you. Bringing the prescription is a good idea in any case, especially if you have medication that, you have to take every day. If you arrive to London with just like a Ziploc baggie with a bunch of pills in it, they might, pull you over for extra screening. So just make sure that you leave it in the original packaging or have that prescription with you. Definitely your student ID, bring it with you. There's lots of places in Europe will give you discounts for being a student, bars, cafes, museums, bookstores will all give you a discount for being a student. So definitely bring it with you and ask, if you're purchasing items. Things that we hope that you will leave at home, again, your laptop or anything expensive, this is a lot of checking in and out of hotels. The chances are somebody will forget something somewhere. So you don't want it to be you, and you definitely don't want it to be your expensive item. So if you can at all, leave your laptop or any expensive jewelry, things like that at home. Maybe your grandparents might offer to give you some traveler's checks. But they're really not widely used overseas anymore. It was kind of a standard way to exchange money years ago, but it's hard to exchange them now. And most places that you can exchange them will charge you a fee for doing so. So probably a Visa card or something like that, or just cash would be better. And again, the hair dryer and hair tools, things like that, they generally don't do well with converters. So if you have to have one, it might actually be cheaper just to buy like an inexpensive one when you're overseas. So here's some other things that we suggest that you could bring with you. Portable charger, like an extra charger for those long days when you're out, just to make sure that you have your phone charged. I love to bring a couple of Ziploc baggies or grocery bags with me. You can put all sorts in there, your wet swimsuit, dirty clothes. If you buy something that you're worried might break in your bag, you can put it in there. Lotions and things like that you can put in there just in case the bottle breaks or the top comes off, that it's confined to that bag. So definitely bring a few of those with you. Bring your water bottle. Pretty much everybody has a water bottle now, so bring it with you. You'll have to empty it before you go through TSA just to get rid of any water. But then you can refill it in most places in Europe, like from a tap. So you can ask at the hotel whether the tap water is good for drinking. Definitely in the UK and France, the tap water is perfectly fine, but you can buy bottled water everywhere if you do need to fill up. Sunscreen, hand sanitizer, just some basic first aid items, feminine hygiene products, always a good idea to bring those with you, especially if you have like a brand that you really like to use, because you may not be able to get that overseas. And these items are also a good thing if you're traveling with somebody, that maybe one person can bring the sunscreen and somebody else can bring like the basic first aid stuff, so that you just cut down on what you're bringing with you. Definitely bring a swimsuit, especially if you're going to Greece. You'll definitely be in the water, so bring your swimsuit with you. Towels will be provided by the hotel. And then just to make your day more comfortable, bring some good walking shoes, like lots of cobblestone streets in Europe. So, walking shoes that are broken in already are a great idea, or some very comfortable sneakers, like sunglasses, maybe a baseball cap or a hat. And, if you're going to be somewhere where it's hot, by the time you get to Italy, it might be quite warm. And if you're outside walking around, it's good to have, a hat on, and, again, your sunscreen and your sunglasses. If you're putting a lock on your luggage, just make sure it's a TSA approved one, because they will break the lock if it isn't one and they want to check in your bag. And again, that's something that you can buy from the luggage section of a department store. And then some items that will be helpful, but maybe not necessarily, necessary, but like electrolyte packets. After a long flight to get overseas and then getting to London, being excited and being out all of that day, you may not sleep for, 36 hours. So electrolyte packets will keep you going for a little bit. Tide to go pens or wrinkle release sprays are handy, especially if you do pack light. That will keep your clothes going for an extra little bit. And then my thing that I always suggest people bring is a money belt. It's the safest way to bring your cash. You could get ones that go around your waist, or one that goes around your neck but under your clothes. And you can put your passport and your cash in there, and it's very secure. You don't just want to put like your wallet in your backpack and have it on your back where people can open your backpack and take it. Of all of the crime that people experience when they go to Europe, by far, just pickpocketing is the most common crime that people encounter. So definitely just be aware of your surroundings and do what you can to discourage pickpockets, which would be having a money belt or one that goes, a money wallet that goes around your neck. A journal, a Kindle, a book with you. You will have some downtime for travel, so they're all great ways of, keeping you busy during those travel times. And a journal is also a great way for you to like look back on this trip in years to come. So while you're traveling, things that you'll need to budget for are, sightseeing, if there's museums that you want to go to that aren't included, any transportation that's not included, you're in Munich and you are out having fun at the Hofbrauhaus and you need to get home, so a taxi fare to get you home, or a subway fare. And any food that isn't included in the tour. So breakfast is included every day. So definitely fill up at breakfast. And about half of your evening meals are included. So it's really lunch every day. And then about half your evening meals are the food that would not be included in the tour. And we would say on average, people spend between like $60 and $80 a day. Some people will spend less than that. Some people will spend more. We just find that that's kind of an average. Some things that we don't really include, which can push up your daily costs, is if you plan on buying a lot of souvenirs, if you go to, concert performance or theater performances, things like that, we don't really cover that in the $60 to $80 per day. So now you have planned and you have packed and you have done your ETA. So you get on your flight and you get to London, hopefully on schedule. If there are any delays or cancellations on the day of travel, we do monitor the flights that we have booked for you. So generally we would be aware of those and we can advise the tour director. Say your flight from Newark to London is delayed by half an hour, we can let the tour director know about that. If there are any flight cancellations, we will work with the airline to help get you guys rebooked, and again, let the tour director know. If the schedule change is just a small change, normally the tour director can wait for you in London, but there is a limit on how long the bus can stay at the airport. So, if you do get delayed like by a substantial amount of time, 4 or 5 hours, you may need to make your own way to the hotel, but we'll be in touch and let you know how to do that. But we try to make it as easy as possible for you. And it's one of the great benefits of booking the flights with us is that you will be met at the airport in London by the tour director and have your transfer to the hotel. So it makes it really easy when you get there. The tour director will be waiting for you in the arrivals hall. If it's very busy, they may wait for you like by a coffee shop just away from the arrivals hall a little bit if it's very crowded. And if they do something like that, they will put a message in the group messaging app that you will have. So you'll get to your hotel generally around 10 a.m. or so. And if the rooms are ready, they'll let you check right in. If the rooms aren't ready yet, they will hold the luggage for you and you can start going out to explore. Or and spend time with your made friends, and then just come back to the hotel in a little while and check into your room. There will be details at the hotel of when the welcome orientation is going to be for anybody who will be arriving at the hotel on their own. So they'll let you know where and when in the hotel to meet up with the rest of the group, to go out on your pub crawl after the orientation session. And then we do ask everybody, contact home, call, phone, call or email or text, and just let your parents or your friends or whoever will be waiting to hear from you, just let them know that you've arrived safely, because otherwise we come into a lot of phone calls first thing in the morning, with your parents asking if you got there okay. So we really appreciate it if everybody can just check in with their people at home once they are settled in London. So we do have free time activity suggestions on our website. If you want to take a look at those, if you're not sure of what you want to do in any of the cities that you'll be visiting. As this is a pretty fast-paced tour and your time is limited in each city, it really does make sense to have at least an idea of things that you want to do in each city that you go to, because just it'll maximize the time that you have to go out and explore. So you can read through those free time activities, or you can download, a guidebook or get a guidebook from the library. And that's good reading for you on the plane on your way to London. And then you have an idea of things that maybe you want to see when you're there. Your tour director is also going to be really helpful in planning those. You can ask them for suggestions. They're all younger people, they've traveled extensively, and they are a wealth of information. So definitely feel free to ask them for any suggestions if you're not sure in any of the cities that you'll be visiting. We don't guarantee that Wi-Fi is available everywhere you go, but in general, it's like here, and Wi-Fi is everywhere. All of the hotels will have Wi-Fi in some form or another. Most hotels now do have it free everywhere, but there are still some hotels that you'll come across that it's only free in the common areas, and they might charge you for Wi-Fi in your room. And they'll let you know on check-in, give you the password if it's free everywhere, or let you know if there's a charge for it. You can access the internet in coffee shops, restaurants, museums, on buses, on trains, just like here. Wi-Fi is available everywhere. So you won't have a problem if you decide that you're not going to have data on your phone and just rely on Wi-Fi. A suggestion would be, however, to maybe set up a new Gmail account or Yahoo account just for, your trip, because most of these places will require you to put in an email address, and you don't want to come back to a lot of spam. So either a fake email address or just make one just for your tour. Just a couple of other items. Your tour director will be with you for the entire tour, meet you in London, and be there through the end of the tour in Athens. And then you will have local guides to do the sightseeing. So they're like local, knowledgeable guides on each of those sightseeing trips. Tipping is standard for your tour director and your bus driver, and we include details on that with your final documents. If you want to, you can put that money aside before you ever leave the US, so you don't really have to think about it. Or you can withdraw local currency when you're in Europe for tipping your tour director. Laundry facilities, you will definitely have access to laundry facilities. There's lots of laundromats, in all of these cities. If you only have to do laundry once, Austria is a great place to do it. Most of the hotels there will have a flat fee. They'll give you a bag, you fill the bag, and they'll have it back to you next day. So it's really convenient. The Band app is our group messaging app that we use for the tours. So we'll send you an invite to that. And then you'll be in contact with all of the other members of your group. So you can chat amongst yourselves, maybe organize to carpool to the airport or just meet up in the airport. I'll meet you guys at the Starbucks in, Terminal C or whatever it is. And then you can also message with the tour director once they join the group, probably about, 3 or 4 days before you depart. And you can ask them any last minute questions that you have. Be aware of local customs, things like, going into cathedrals or holy sites. They don't like you to be underdressed. So, bring a shawl to cover your shoulders or just plan on wearing a long sleeve shirt. Those kind of things, you just want to be aware of those. And if you're at all unsure, definitely ask your tour director. And try the local foods. There's nothing tastier than garlic butter. It might come with snails, but at least there's a lot of garlic butter in there. So try all the local food. There's lots of really delicious things. I always love to go to like a supermarket in a city and just see, what foods are available that I haven't seen before, or, grab some cheese that maybe is not available here and a baguette and go and have like a picnic. And that way also it's a very inexpensive way to eat out on this tour. So this is what the band app looks like. So you will have to download it if you don't have it already. We encourage everybody to, load a picture on there, but you don't have to. Your tour director will post a bulletin every day to let you know like what the schedule is, when breakfast is available, what time you need to be ready to leave. And then we do ask that everybody just be kind to their other traveling companions and be ready to leave at the given time. You really don't want to be the person who's holding up the group every day, because everybody wants to get going, and you will hold it up if you're late on travel days or departing for, meals or sightseeing. So but again, it's something the band app lets you message within the app, so you can message your group, especially if you don't want to join an activity. You can let the tour director know through the app that you won't be joining it, and that way people are waiting around for you. So it's a really great tool to allow you guys to stay in touch with each other and, coordinate plans for the day. We also do a photo contest every year, so your tour director will give you some details of that. We love everybody's pictures, so please tag us in any social media. We love to use our travelers' pictures in all of our marketing materials and on our brochures. So please send us your pictures, submit for the photo contest, and definitely tag us when you're on your trip. So that's enough of me. What kind of questions do you all have?
Any questions?
Oh, so Nathan doesn't have any audio here. So he's asking about the ETA. So Nathan, we may have covered it, but just to reiterate again, you do need to have this ETA to enter the UK. It's a very easy process. Just follow the link that you will receive in your final document. It's about £15, I believe, so maybe about $20. Once you should have your approval within 24 to 72 hours after doing it, but just be careful when you're inputting the information that you are putting everything in correctly, because it's difficult. It's a difficult process if they do deny you to then like have them look at your application again.
Maggie, you had mentioned about bringing extra chargers if need be, but do you know if the motor coaches have charging ports on them?
Yeah, most of them do now. We do work with a company that has a lot of different motor coaches, so I can't say for certain, but most of the coaches that we use are very modern, and they should all have charging ports available.
Okay.
And
All
then
right.
just with your portable chargers, just make sure that you are careful, like follow the instructions for packing them. because you cannot put them in your checked luggage. So and I know that some of the airlines have new rules about bringing portable phone chargers. So just make sure that when you check in, that you follow the rules that you'll be given by the airline. When you check in, they'll have a do's and don'ts section. So just follow that with regards to any portable chargers that you're bringing.
Okay, Alexis has a question.
Hi. I'm sorry if you covered it, but with the airplane tickets that I got through ESAU travel,
Mhm.
um, is that everybody who got it through that will be going together at the same time? Or how do the flights look?
Right. So we try to keep everybody together as much as possible, but just depending on when people book, you may be on a different schedule. But we do try to keep everybody together as much as possible. I think Regina has the flight list,
Yeah,
so she'll be able to tell you who is on the flight with you.
it looks like there is four of you on the same flight leaving out of Detroit all the way through, let's see here. Yes, all the way to London, and then the same four on the return as well.
Could you name them for me, please?
Yes, we've got Anna Winter, Cecilia Carney, um, Alexis Yatch, and Finn Paget. I don't know, Finn, if I pronounce that correctly.
All right. That's great. Is Cecilia Dawkins, is she on a different flight?
Hmm.
She might have booked separately. I'm not sure, but
Right. Do you want
Okay.
to
Yeah.
email me,
Yeah, she's
Alexis?
on a different flight. Yes, out of
Okay.
Detroit. Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Hmm. Maggie, did you have something?
No, I was just going to say that Alexis could email me directly if she wants, and I can take a look at that for her in the morning. So Alexis, if you do want to email me about that, it's Maggie, Maggie, at aesu.com.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Another thing that Maggie had mentioned is about having a list of the hotels, making an extra copy. I do recommend that when you're out, if you go out in the evening or during the day, if you go out on your own, that list with you, because if for some reason you've forgotten the name of the hotel or something and you want to take a taxi back to get back, you have that list with you. And if, sometimes there's a language barrier and you can just point and say, this is where I need to go. So I do highly recommend that you take that with you. Okay. And I think someone else had a question. It says, I think there was a platform to communicate that I needed to be approved to join the group, but it won't approve me.
If that is the band platform, Finny, we will send out the invite a little bit.
Oh, Bright Crowd. Okay. All right. Yes, that was through us, and I
Okay.
I can handle that with you, Finny. Okay. Sorry. Yes. Another thing I want to mention, yeah, Maggie mentioned about luggage scales, weighing your luggage before you get on the flight, and also the adapters. We have those here in our office, and so if that wasn't one of the gifts that you selected, I'm happy to mail them to you. You can reach me at crossreg@msu.edu. And like I said, I'm happy to mail those to you instead of you having to buy them. We have them here. So it's good. And then also too, um, I need, hopefully, one of you would be willing to take a Michigan State flag with you so that you can get some great group shots. I wish we had a few more people on here, but if the two of you that are on, if you would like to take a flag with you, I'm happy to send that to you as well. And it would be yours to keep. so that we could get some great shots. And if you could, yeah, just mail me the photos, that would be great. Email them to me when you return. So, oh, okay, Alexis, I'll send that out to you. So.
Then I think there was just one other item that maybe we have not gone, or maybe two items actually that we didn't address at all. One is travel insurance. We do ask that everybody have travel insurance. Regina has a product that I'm sure she sent you the details of, and we do ask that everybody have that, and it's really for your protection. If you fall and break your leg a week before the tour and you can't travel, our policy at that point would be your trip is non-refundable. So at least you'd be able to claim back your costs from the insurance company, or if something happened when you're overseas, again, you'd be able to claim back any costs from the travel insurance company. So we think that's very important. And then just general safety. I had mentioned earlier that, the crime that most people, if they do experience crime in Europe, it's pickpocketing. So just be careful about that. But you also just want to behave like you would in any major city. If somebody goes to New York or Chicago for the weekend, you don't go out at 3 a.m., not sure where you are and wandering around, so we would say the same advice for Europe. Be aware of your surroundings, don't go out alone, always have a buddy with you. If you are going somewhere on your own, let somebody know where you're going to be going. So at least, if they don't see you at the time that you've said you're going to come back, at least they know where you've gone. So just very common sense things that you would do when you're here. But sometimes I know when we're on vacation, we tend to lose the run of ourselves a little bit sometimes. So just keep those in mind. And there's safety in numbers. So, hang out with your group of friends that you have now made on your trip.
And I do want to reiterate what Maggie said, to try and pack really light if possible. You will be handling your own luggage most of the time, having to carry it upstairs, and maybe some of the hotels, or they have really small elevators. It might take a while. So just keep that in mind, to try and pack light, and maybe do laundry in Austria, like Maggie mentioned. So. And then, yeah, and keep like your heels and things like that home. Just try to, flat shoes are best. I think the Moulin Rouge is one of your optionals that you can take part in, and maybe you want to have a little cute skirt, or a dress, summer dress, or something along that lines. But again, I would recommend flat shoes for that.
Yes.
So.
And even all these lovely people dressed up in the picture here, if you look at their feet, they're all in sneakers. They all have lovely dresses on, but they all are wearing sneakers.
Yeah.
You'll do a lot of walking in Europe.
Yeah. So good. Okay. All right. Well, if you do have any other questions, you can reach out to me, and I'll be out for starting Sunday for a week. But feel free to either email me, or contact Maggie, and
Yep.
she's Maggie@aesu.com.
Yes,
So
I'm always available.
yeah.
And have a great time. It's a great time in your life. Have a wonderful time, and send us pictures.
Yes, yes. And Finny, I will send you another invite for the Bright Crowd page. And if you have trouble, let me know. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. And I'm wishing a wonderful time. Europe is wonderful, especially this time of year. So I think you'll enjoy it. All right. Take care and go great.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Go wait.
Oh, okay. All right. Bye, Maggie. Thanks.
Bye.